spectacular plays out in center field. I mean,
And he's playing a good third.
and he's playing a good
He's
third.
playing a good third. Made a
And he's
heck of a
actually
play the
not.
other night.
He's actually not hitting that well. I mean, he's not hitting that bad. 258. I mean, compared to Javi Baez of last year and the year before, I mean, of course, they brought up Jace Jung, who really hasn't hit anything yet.
Right.
Torkelson, 0 for 4. Riley Green, 0 for 4 in that 2-0 loss the other night. But like you said, how streaky they are. When we're looking at yesterday's win, Torres has been hitting well. Zach McKinstry went 3 for 4, and Torkelson and Green both got hits. There are no home runs, but they're scoring runs small ball wise.
Yeah, they're getting base hit and score. Yeah, we see that obviously. There's not going to be any power. Not going to be any power there, but you can still win games with that pitching and average. Yeah, key hits. What I'm saying, not really necessary. None of these guys are going to really just go out and just 290, 285. If you can get closer and still hit and still pitch like that, then you'll probably find yourself back into the playoffs. But good pitching always defeats hitting. So they have that going for them. But I don't think, like I said, these guys are 250ers, they're 260ers, they're 270ers. That's what they are. But they're putting it all together. They're putting it all together without power. So obviously, it's you can see that it's the pitching. The pitching is very good, and I think it could get better. I really do. I think it can get better because it's like I said, it's May now. It's going to get warmer.
Yeah.
It
was 85 today.
Yeah, folks are getting loose, but and they're like I said, they're playing defensive. They're playing some good defensive baseball, even though they don't have. It's like musical chairs with them. But yeah, Baez has been playing like a good third base. He
made a great catch the other day. Earlier today.
Yeah, defensively has never been the issue.
Well, I mean, for a center fielder, I mean, he's played well.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing, and it's always been his hitting. He's what you call a bad ball hitter. They're good. They're good bad ball hitters.
Okay.
He's a bad ball hitter. Like Guerrero, remember him?
Yeah.
The dad?
Yeah.
He was a bad ball hitter.
Yeah.
But he hit 300.
Yeah.
He could hit bad ball. Baez can he hits bad. He's a bad ball hitter. His swings, if he can see the ball and swing at strikes, I think he'll hit. He'll turn his average up a little bit. But he's a bad ball hitter. But yeah, they're doing things together.
Yeah.
That's who they are. They're like they're kind. I guess if you want to use the grit thing, whatever. But
I know how much you like it when we use the grit.
They play together, but they're kind of in the same boat with the Lions. To be honest, we'll talk Lions in a bit.
Yeah.
The expectation for the Tigers, everybody thinks that they're a playoff team. Obviously, again, pennant.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, obviously the Guardians are creeping up a little bit,
Yeah,
we said
anywhere.
they were.
They're not going to go anywhere.
They're
not going to with Ramirez and Quan. I mean, they're not going to go anywhere, and they have decent pitching. They're managed well. That's the rivalry. Can you get over the hump? But so far, in the 30 days, or the 27 days, or 28 days, or whatever it is, we're in April. So far, the Tigers are steadfast. They stayed on the boat. They stayed the course. They haven't had a huge dip. You're not going to win every game, but a baseball season is a long season.
Sure.
But you want to see how can they stay the course. You can't start losing 2 series in a row and things like that.
Right.
The object of this game is to stay the course.
Yeah.
Stay the pitching, stay the bullpen, stay the course. A little more run support. Get about 5 runs. Give your pitcher a good lead. Make the right plays. Make the right throws.
Let me ask you
make the
something.
right decisions.
A lot of,
fine.
I see them not scoring a whole ton of runs for Scooble. Does Scooble look different to you this year? Does he look like the dominant pitcher he was last year?
It's still early for the dominant thing to me.
Okay.
Ask me that question middle of May.
Okay.
I'm not worried about him, but like I said before, this is the MLB.
Right.
People will catch up to you.
Yeah.
They will figure it out. But the great ones get beyond that, and I think he's one of the great ones. I think his stuff is too electric. But ask me that in the middle of May when it gets warm and see how loose he gets. Even on his bad days, most pitchers would want to be him on his bad days.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean? So
absolutely.
He's a mega star. He's just and he's left-handed. I've always said this about baseball. Left-handed pitchers are tough, and left-handed hitters are the best hitters in baseball to ever play, to me. A left-handed pitcher is it's odd, it's rare. But if you look, most pitchers are right-handed, right?
Sure.
If you look throughout the history of baseball, all your left-handed batters have been the best hitters. Just fact. I mean, you can name them. Some of them: Babe Ruth,
Ted Williams.
Ted Williams, Tony Gwynn, Wade Boggs, Pete Rose is the best on his left side, Ken Griffey.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying there's great right-handed hitters, but for the most part, Rod Carew.
Yeah.
That's just, what I see. But those lefties, back to Scooble, he's that left. It's coming at you differently. I know most batters are right-handed, but his stuff, it goes hard in on you. He's got that electrifying spinner. A good, strong, solid lefty. People don't like to see those left-handed pitchers, man. So I'm not worried about him. Ask me that in May, and we'll see.
Well,
How dominant he is.
Looking at the batting for the Tigers, Spencer in that 264 range is what you kind of want him to be. To me, I think, we talked about this last week. Riley and Torkelson are at 30 strikeouts already, and we are not even really in our
That's on pace
first
for
full
100.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
too
I mean,
much.
it's a lot.
Yeah, it's too much.
But they have a lot of guys on here that strike out. What's funny to me is that Kerry Carpenter's only at 16.
Yeah.
So obviously he's. I mean, Torkelson's, I think, getting quality at bats. He is at. He does have 15 walks. He leads the Tigers with 21 RBIs. He's got 7 home runs.
Yep.
I mean, so really the only people that are really not batting well at all is Colt Keith. I mean, he's at 188.
He'll be gone.
They just sent, if I'm not mistaken, Kreidler down, and they brought up Jace Jung, and they brought up also a pitcher, a rookie pitcher. Let me see here. I had it right here, but I believe his name is Chase Lee, and he pitched pretty decent the other night. Everybody's kind of chucking along. Justin Henry Malloy's batting 208. I think with him, I don't know. I thought we were gonna see more from him, especially when we got him. He was a high prospect when we got him from the Braves. Do you think some of these players like Justin Henry Malloy and let's say Jace Jung, Colt Keith, granted they're getting their MLB opportunities, but do you think that these guys should have had more time in the minors?
Well, I'm not a GM or a scout, but sometimes.
I mean, because a lot of these guys have been thrown up.
Yeah.
Whether it would be injuries.
I was going to say,
and
sometimes
all that.
these kids get rushed up.
Sure.
Sometimes these kids get rushed up, and sometimes you have to you have to really and this word, you have to be patient.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to be patient with those highly talented prospects. Because, to me, and this is just my thinking, when they come up, the minute they go bust or they don't perform well, now their psyche is done.
Sure.
So you have to be very careful with a lot of young players coming up, rushing them in. Sometimes you don't have a choice
Right.
to rush them and bring them up because you need help in certain places. But that's the fine line. See, that's what makes the good GM. Am I rushing him? Is it too soon? Are we keeping him down there too long? That's the fine line that you have to look at it, and you have to be very patient sometimes, and sometimes it works out. Sometimes you get lucky.
Well, let me ask you something. Do you think it hinders the development of a player, such as a Justin Henry Malloy or a Jace Jung, in regards to bringing them up and only playing them in certain situations where they could just be more relaxed, so to speak, maybe in AAA, where they can actually just play the game? And because I think it takes a different kind of player to come off the bench.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cold turkey, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, all these guys are ready to go as it is now, but especially a young kid.
Yeah, and especially in baseball, like when you're on the bench, you're on the bench.
Right.
There's no sub.
Right.
There's no horn. Like basketball, you come in and it's a 6-man or 7-man.
Right.
No, you on the bench for 9 innings.
But do you think what do you think? Do you think it hinders the development of a Jace Jung, where it's like, hey, look, Jace, go down to spend a good full season or a half a season in AAA, and get and then bring him up midway. I mean, halfway point, after the All-Star break.
Yeah, I don't think it hinders. I mean, get your time down there. I mean, Torkelson had to go do it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. It helps.
Well, he's going to.
That's to help him.
I think. I mean, I'm almost thinking Colt Keith needs to.
He's got to go.
Had to go down there.
He's got to go. Can't hit. You got to go.
Maybe he just needs to get down. I mean, we've talked about this last few
you gotta
weeks,
go.
and nothing's changing
Yeah.
in regards to that. And I think after a while, I think it. Wouldn't you say it would play on the psyche of these guys?
Yes.
I think it did Torkelson last
It did.
year.
Up, down, up. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah. That thinking in the back of your head. That's a lot, man. It's a lot of thinking that goes on in that. Oh, I'm getting sent down. Then you're under pressure. Then you're thinking at the plate. Then you're thinking defensively. It is a lot of pressure, and it is hard. But you know what? You have time. The beauty of it is you have time. Send them back down, and you can still survey the land if you're down there. You're playing for something. You're playing for yourself to become a better baseball player. Up when you're in the show, you're playing for the team. You're playing for yourself, the team, the standings, all of that. So it's more relaxing to go down and concentrate on what you're doing to develop your skills.
I think Keith should go down.
Yeah.
Let him stay down there to maybe August. I mean, I think a lot of it is too with the injuries that the Tigers have had.
Yeah.
They really haven't had a whole lot of options, so to speak.
Right.
But maybe it's Colt Keith going down is trying to find his swing like Torkelson.
Well, he's got to now he's got to because it can only help. He can't go any lower. He's got to go down. He's got to go down and play. At that level because he hasn't shown that he could play at this level.
Now, do you think it's these pitchers have kind of figured him out? Last year he batted .260, 134 hits. He had 13 home runs. Not a bad rookie season. Scored 54 runs. Had 61 RBIs. You think it's a point of they kind of figured him out, or because I kind of think of this as another Spencer Torkelson kind of a deal.
Yeah, they figured him out. Of course, they got the scouting report on him. That's their job. They have people to do that. They have people specifically to do that. Sit and watch you and say, hey, and bring that report, to the team and say, you know what, these pitchers, they look at it, that's one thing, yes. Sometimes you're just not that good. You know how
obviously
hard
they've
it
seen
is?
something with him.
Yeah.
I mean, to give him an extension the way they did, last season.
Right.
I mean, we talked about it. He kind of came out of nowhere, in my opinion.
Could have been fool's gold.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just not. You know how hard it is to play Major League Baseball?
Oh, I'm sure.
Go back to Torque. Torque was number one.
Yeah.
Number one pick overall.
Yeah.
And he struggled. You know, it's hard. It's not easy to do, man. That's why those great ball players, you know, to be great is something, they're consistent.
Right.
That's the thing. It's the hard work. And I'm not saying none of these kids and players don't work hard. It's greatness, consistency, doing something well makes you great. You know what I mean? Maybe I don't know. I mean, he's like you said. They've seen something and extended him. It could be now. Some players just do have a wash of a year.
Yeah.
Maybe he can bounce back.
It always seems like it's a sophomore slump.
Yeah. Maybe he's not the player that they thought. Sometimes you can get it wrong.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You can get it wrong, but we'll see. But he needs to go down to, you know, and get his head together and start getting some good at bats, plate discipline. You know, help the kid out. Like it's a mental. Now it's mental now too, and then it's mental on the coaches too. It's all a mental thing. You know, you want to help the kid. You want to see the kid do good. You feel bad for him, but this is a business.
Right. Well, speaking of people that are having trouble, Kenta Maeda. Here's a guy that the Tigers with, and I think he's on the last year of his deal. Putting him down in the bullpen hasn't seemed to work. He's got a 10.50 ERA right now. When do you cut bait with him?
Now. 10.5? Now.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Let me ask you something. Why do you think these pitchers kind of lose their grip? I mean, Maeda was a decent pitcher with the Twins, you know, but since he's came over here, I mean, it's just been totally abysmal. Of course, we could say that about Javi Baez.
Well, it could be, it could be change of pace, environment. Sometimes you excel in a different environment. Sometimes you don't. Look at who's the one pitcher that they brought over, gave him all the money. Was he with the Twins?
Zimmerman. That was a horrible sign.
Yeah.
I think he got like a $200 million contract or something like that. Yeah.
Sometimes it could be change of pace, change of environment, I mean. Sometimes you just lose it. Pitching, that is, man. Yeah, that is a
And
real
it's
tough.
surprising, though, that he hasn't the Tigers haven't been able to help him, especially with the pitching coach that they have. He seemed to he worked wonders with other players around. Is it surprising here that Tommy Connolly is leading the Tigers with saves with 5? Not a bad free agent pickup.
No. Sometimes, again, man, and baseball is a funny thing.
Sure.
It's a tricky thing. It's a mental thing. I tell you all the time. And like I said, you can lose your edge as a pitcher. You can lose your edge as a hitter. I remember we used to play in this independent league, semi-pro, whatever it was, up at Northwestern. We were the Detroit Bruins. The league's been around forever. So it was this one guy. He was a pitcher for the Detroit Panthers. His name was Mike Kazmierski. He had like 6 pitches. Phenomenal. I owned him. Nobody else could hit him. But then there's other pitcher that pitched for them come in. I couldn't do. You know what I mean? It's one of those things.
Right.
I could just see the ball right out of his hand, and we would talk right after the game like, man, I tried to throw you this, I tried to throw you that, and I could just hit him all the time.
Sure.
So sometimes it just goes that way.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Baseball is funny like that. It is. And then you got all of these situations. Pitchers are always thinking about the situations, right?
Sure.
You know, runners on, I got to get this, I got to get that. You know, I can't let him bunt here, I got to feel. You know, you got to always think about the next move. So it's just one of those games. That's what makes the game so beautiful to me. It's always a thinking contest. It's a thinking situation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we talked about it. They have the Orioles coming up. I think they can take 2 out of 3. And then they got they take out of town. They got the Astros coming up.
I like that
And-
series.
Yeah,
I like
do
that
too.
series.
I think the Astros are kind of coming around, like you were saying they were
Yeah,
going to
they
come
always
around.
do.
They're in third now, but they're only a game out of first.
Yeah, they always do.
Rangers are 5-5 in the last 10.
Wait,
and
Mariners?
Mariners are 7-3. Mariners are second at 14-11, and then the Astros, and then just a few. Was it last week? The Angels were up on top.
Yeah.
They are 3-7 in their last 10. So that division is gone up and down.
It's going to be Houston at the end. Because I'm just basing that off on history.
Okay.
I'm basing it off history and players. So I think it's just going to Seattle's going to dip, but I think it's just going to be Houston. Until they prove me otherwise.
Okay.
So yeah.
Let's
But
take
that's
a
going
look.
to be a good series for them and the Tigers.
Let's take a look at the National League before we get off this topic and talk some NFL draft. Mets 18-7, kind of up 5 games up on the Phillies in the East, playing good baseball.
That's a good race.
Cubs still on top by 2.5 in the Central over the Brewers. Brewers are 2.5 out. Reds are 3.5 out. And believe it or not, the Pirates are only 5.5 out. That National League Central is kind of reminds me of the AL West right now. Everybody's kind of jumbled up. But the National League West is you got 4 teams that are playing pretty good baseball right now. Obviously, the Padres, who just left out of here at 17-8, they, believe it or not, are 1 game above the Dodgers and 1 game above the Giants, the San Francisco Giants. And then, of course, the Diamondbacks are at 14-10. They're only 2.5 out.
Right.
And the Rockies, we talked about them last week. They're kind of looking like they're going to have another 100-loss season. But any of these national teams that surprise you a lot? What about the Braves at 10-14?
I'm surprised.
7.5.
I'm
out?
surprised a little bit with that.
You think it's because they let Fried go?
Yeah. That doesn't help.
No.
that doesn't help. Yeah. We're in first place,
Sure.
But yeah, that doesn't help. Good pitching is hard to keep and find.
I agree.
Because it's always a contract deal coming up. Not everybody. So yeah, that doesn't help. But the Braves are consistent. The good thing about them, their system has always been good. It's always worked. They're always in the hunt. But I don't know about this year. This year is going to be tough because you got Philly and the Mets playing very good baseball. And the Phillies are always a tough out. The Mets adding Soto obviously is a tough out, even though he struggled the last couple of games. But Soto's going to be Soto. Not worried about him. But yeah, I'm a little surprised with the Braves because they're always consistent. They're always in it. And it's going to be a tough road for them. It's going to be a tough road for them. And I don't even know, I think they have some injuries too. But yeah, it's going to be tough for them. Because, like I said, the Mets and the Phillies are the front runners for that division. And they're tough. Both teams are tough. That could go down to the wire with both of them, Phillies and Mets. Yep.
Okay, let's switch topics a little bit here. We got the NFL draft live tonight. I believe is what time we got? What's the
8
time on that?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Round
8 o'clock.
1 starts at 8 o'clock at Lambeau.
Yes. NFL draft.
Yeah.
NFL draft, you got all types of different drafts and mocks and this and who's going this and who's going to trade up and who's going to trade down and who's doing this and who's doing that. Where will Shador go? Where does this go? So they start off with Tennessee's got the first pick.
Yes.
Looks like Cam Ward.
And that would be a good pick for them. They need a quarterback. So that's kind of not shocking there. After that, I think it kind of gets murky. It could go anyway
So you got
or anywhere.
2 is number 2
With
is
the Browns,
the Browns.
and then the Giants have the 3 pick. The New England Patriots have the 4th. Jacksonville has the 5th. Raiders 6. Jets 7. Panthers 8. New Orleans have 9. And the Chicago Bears at 10. So we were just talking with our buddy Dave Scott, who came in.
Shout out to Dave.
Yeah, shout out to Dave. Glad he's feeling better, and good to see him. He's the guy that kind of puts all this together for us. And we were talking. We were talking the Detroit Lions. What are the Lions are going to do? And I've seen mock saying that maybe Jameson Williams package him up with the 28th pick and move up. I've seen them say move up high enough to get. I've seen Javon Walker from Georgia, the stud middle linebacker, which that wouldn't be a bad pickup if they did it. He would definitely be a guy that I think with Jack Campbell could form a pretty good tandem, and Anzalone. I mean, you seen last year the depth in linebacking after all those injuries was horrible. But I don't know, man. It's almost like, I know you were talking right before we got on the show. You didn't think this pick was even really going to make a big difference for the Lions this year.
It won't,
unless they trade up.
Yeah, it won't. It's not going to make a big difference. And then now we're going to see if Brad Holmes, what he really can do. Everybody's crowned him king of the draft and this and that. I don't buy that. But he works out of it. I'm not saying he's not good, but he's going to do whatever he wants to do. He's got the free reign. Him and Campbell have free reign to do whatever they want to do. This pick means nothing, getting them to the Super Bowl that they're not going to get to, because you still have Jared Goff as your quarterback. So this pick doesn't mean anything unless they maneuver it. Edge receiver, you can go edge receiver. I would go, if I were the Lions, interior. Everybody's getting older. People are hurt. I would like the kid from Ohio State, the tackle, or I think it's the tackle or the guard. Get it beefy up in there, or get it beefy on the other side, because you want to keep the key to your team is protecting your quarterback. That's the total key. That's the key. That's the key to everything. It opens up for Jameer. Jameer and the offensive line is the key to your team. So I would go interior with that pick, but I'm not Brad Holmes, so I don't know. But
Well,
I don't think it'll,
I just think
overly
I
affect.
honestly feel like this is going to be a chaotic draft.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm going to be honest with you, I've seen so many mock drafts, and I know we've talked about how they don't really pan out, but it's nice to look at different people's opinions on it.
Yeah.
I'm just reading this one from Pete Prisco from 4 hours ago.
Okay.
He says he thinks Shedeur Sanders is going to drop out of round 1 as the only one quarterback. As only one quarterback goes in the first 32 picks.
Well, I can buy that. It's a quarterback thin draft. It's
So
not
you
like,
think he might be sitting there like Will Levis did a couple of years ago, and who was it? The draft I was watching, Brady Quinn. I think he was allegedly going to be picked in the first round, and he didn't go. That's got to be embarrassing.
Yeah. They invite you,
Sure.
and then they, but Shedeur, I've heard Steelers.
Okay.
I've heard sell some tickets and put him with Hunter with Cleveland. Mm-hmm. I don't know what Cleveland is, a quarterback mess. But I think Shedeur has to go to the right system. I don't think he's going top 5. I don't think he could. Like I said, he could fall down to the Steelers at 22. I don't think he's going second round. I think he'll be in the first round. But I think it'll be a later first round pick.
Well,
I've heard that before. I've heard that. I've
Yeah.
heard him, dropping.
Well, what's surprising to me is just how each news network has somebody going somewhere different. We talked about Will Johnson, who is a stud, defensive back for the Michigan Wolverines. We've seen him go early on We've heard that he could be a top 5 pick. Then the next thing you know, it kind of slipped a little bit. Now it's mid-round. And then we've seen mock drafts where he could be available at the end of the first round. You said your sources say he could possibly go to the Saints. That's what you're hearing?
I see Saints and Dolphins. Ramsey's leaving.
They would need somebody.
Yep. Saints, Dolphins, Tampa. I think Foote is at Tampa. He's over at Tampa. The Michigan connection. Tampa loves physical corners, defense. So yeah, I think Will is set to go in top 15. And again, where you go is the thing. Who you go to that will best suit your abilities. Just like Shador, like and it's based on need again. Like the kid from Penn State, they're talking about him maybe going to the Browns to add on with Garrett. So you just never know. But I think Will would be somewhere in that. Like if Ramsey's leaving and then Tyreek Hill is leaving, so they definitely want to shore up some more some players and somebody that can come in and play right away to replace Jalen, because he was on the last leg of his out in Miami. I think he needs a change of scenery as well. So those are the 3 that I've heard, and a little bit of Frisco.
Well, I'm going to tell you what CBS Prisco's saying. And this is a new for me. They have him dropping to 30th and going to Buffalo.
I haven't heard Buffalo.
I would be surprised, though, that if he did drop to the Lions,
they're not going to take him.
I think they should. I mean, to me, if Will Johnson was there at 28, there's something that pair him with Terrion Arnold and Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, along with the other crew that's coming back this year. Why not? I would love to see him come to Detroit.
That means I'd have to root kind of for the Lions, but I don't think he's going there.
Okay.
I don't think because of what you just said.
You think he's a top 15 pick at least?
Yeah, that's because of what you just said. Rakestraw, Arnold, those guys. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think he would. If he does, that would be great. Wherever he goes, it'd be great. But I just don't think Holmes will do that. I really don't. I really don't. And I'd be surprised. Holmes was a shocker.
Yeah.
He does.
I mean, but I would be for him to fall to 30th.
Well, yeah, he didn't play. I mean, he didn't run, and he got hurt, and they don't know if it's a business deal, if it was a business decision, or if he was really hurt, so he didn't run in the combine. He didn't do that. So but again, if the Dolphins are up there, I mean, he's the best corner in the draft. Why wouldn't you take him? If the Saints if they get Shador, then they probably won't take him, obviously, because they'll pick Shador. This Mark, the quarterback there, Derek Carr, something's wrong with his arm. I don't know, but it just depends. And then I heard some Frisco.
Well, this mock is saying, and I always like looking at these now because it changes. It seems like it changes daily.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen Jalen Walker, the linebacker out of Georgia. I've seen him going in the 20s. This is having him go 8th to the Panthers, which honestly, that would be a good fit there. The Panthers have always had some pretty good middle linebackers, and they need one now to replace Kuzli.
Oh, you know what? And jump back to Will real quick. Coming in, I heard Green Bay.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. They have the Saints at 9, taking Mikael Williams out of Georgia, the edge rusher.
Yeah.
They have your guy Loveland going to the Bears at 10.
Nice.
And then, believe it or not, the shocker here, San Francisco going with the defensive tackle, Walter Nolan from Ole Miss.
Okay.
And then, I was under the assumption Mason Graham could be a top tenner. This is showing him drop down to the Dolphins for 13. So I like I said, it's whoever you're reading these mock drafts from, and like we said before, seldom are these accurate after the first pick, maybe the first 2 picks,
Right.
But your Green Bay Packers
Where
are
they?
projected to take Matthew Golden, the wide receiver from Texas. And then they have the Lions taking Gray Zabel, who we've talked about before, an inside offensive lineman from North Dakota State. Now, we've heard Brad Holmes say that he's not really worried about taking what the position that they need. He wants to take the best person available.
Yeah.
So my thing is this. Yeah, they do need to shore up the offensive line. We've talked about that.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know if Gray Zabel, to me, is a guy that could fill. I mean, he's definitely very versatile. But what gets me, though, is he played for North Dakota State. And I know basically you really can't, say what the talent you've played up against. But then again, you can. How many great interior defensive linemen did he go up against at North Dakota State?
Well, when you get there, you got to prove
Right.
that you're good, because they will look at it as that. It's the same thing with Shador, Colorado. But Jerry Rice went to McNeese State.
I'll be honest with you, though. I know we talked about Shador. It wouldn't surprise me, Co, if he falls out of the first round.
No, I wouldn't be surprised.
Do you think that'll piss Dion off? 'Cause he likes to get involved in things.
Yeah, Prime, and that's what this all is. Prime's been doing a great job of marketing and pushing. These kids barely won games, but he's been promoting his son and Hunter, and the brand. They're a brand, and
Sure.
He believes in his kid, which he should. He's got to go to the right place. I mean, look at Darnold. Look at Geno Smith. Like, if you get to the right place, then maybe things will work out. But he's definitely going to have some growing pains. He's got to get with the right system to help him out, and a good quarterback coach. And then he'll have his dad in his ear, and he's got to get with an offensive coach to help him out, because he's not the fastest. He doesn't have the strongest arm. He's not the biggest. He doesn't, he processes, though. So that's always a good thing. But you got to figure, you got to get him in and get him in camp and figure out, his strengths again and his weaknesses and all that stuff. But I think he'll be a pro. I think he'll be a solid pro. I don't think he'll be a great quarterback. I think he'll be a good quarterback, depending on where he goes.
Is it me, or do I just feel like this draft doesn't really do it for me?
It doesn't.
Like, I don't feel like I think two things could happen. If the Lions were to trade up, I think obviously they would have to put in Jamison Williams to make that fly. But to me, when I look at the players that could really make a difference, like you were saying, I don't think there's that difference maker that they could, if they were to package the 28th pick and go up. I mean, I don't see it. I looking at these players, I just don't see somebody coming in and really being a star player right off the rip. For me, I think at 28, in my opinion, I think Holmes would be better suited to trade back and get more picks.
Well,
I mean, what do you think?
I don't think it's a great, again, you can always find some diamonds in the rough. I don't think it's a great quarterback draft. Let me just say that. I think there's some good players out there. You got the back Gentry kid. You got the back from North Carolina. You got the Georgia guy. I mean, you got the Penn State guy. I think it's other players that are decent, that are good players, that'll come in and that can help somebody win. Like I said, this pick is irrelevant to me unless they do something. And do you really want Williams?
I don't want to see him leave here, because I think he's a piece that can be electric when used the right way.
He's electric.
I think that I almost worry about him and Ben Johnson not being here. What kind of usage are they really going to get from this
Well,
kid?
you just said it. I just told everybody. That's why you guys aren't going to do anything this year, because the coordinators are gone. That's exactly, you just hit it on the head. That's a big change. And then as soon as you start losing, it's going to be in the head of all the players. The media is going to run with it. Oh, the coordinators are going, Ben Johnson, did we really miss? Are we really miss? That's going to affect them. It has to. It just has to. That's just what's going to happen. The person's going to come in new. He's not going to be Ben Johnson.
Well, let me ask you this.
They got to get acclimated to him.
I know you're not.
And the defensive coordinator. This is going to be a mess.
I know you're not a Lions fan.
Not at all.
How do you think this offense has changed? Do you think it's going to be I think you think you're going to see a huge change offensively from last year?
You better not. You better not. Everything, add a little bit of your own wrinkle if you want, but you better not. You better get the ball to that kid in the backfield. That's it. That ain't no trickery. All that, hit the play action, that's Goff's thing. Play action, give him the ball, muscle and knuckles or Sonic or whatever they are, and get the dumps across to Amon-Ra. It's the same thing. Don't change nothing. Why you got the best back in football, arguably. You don't have to change nothing. Just give it to him. Again, it's going to come down to, Goff again. But you don't have to change anything. Now, if he comes in there and tries to wrinkle it up, he'd be a fool, whoever he is. But I think he worked with Ben Johnson before.
He was actually with the Lions.
There you go. Don't change nothing. Don't change nothing. Get back to the playoffs.
But you think they're going to have to do something. Because I'm sure, Ben Johnson was pretty much an unknown before he came here.
Right.
And I know with Fox, he didn't really light the world on fire when he's with the Broncos. So I don't know. I think the Lions will be in playoff contention. I think the hype of what we had last year with them going to the Super Bowl and all that other stuff.
That's over.
I think I wouldn't say it's over, but I just want to see. I mean, look at when we thought the Tigers were gonna kind of not pick up from what they did last year, and they're playing pretty well.
They're playing pretty well.
So I mean, maybe the Lions do something like that.
Well, they did the 2 years. The Lions had the 2 years, and they had 2 big years. They playoff back to back, and you had the championship game. I told everybody it's hard to get to that. Just like it's going to be hard for the Tigers to get back to where they're at. They're winning, but it's April. It's going to be hard for them to get back to that because it's just the law of averages. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like now it's the law of now you adding, and other teams are getting better. Look, Ben Johnson is on a mission to embarrass you guys.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's on a mission to do that. He's on a mission to show that he was the one. I thought he was a little quieter than what he's a little. He's a little cocky, arrogant little guy. And then your defense, which I didn't think. I don't know what Glenn is doing. I think he's committing professional suicide as Justin Fields as his starter. I'll give that 2 years tops. That'll be over with.
I agree with you on that.
That'll be over with. That'll be over with.
Did you hear the story on what they did to Rodgers? They made him fly into California, from California, and basically, Aaron, do you want to play football? Yeah. Well, we're going in a different direction, and then I don't know. I think that's going to come back and bite Glenn in the butt. I don't think Glenn, to me, I think some people are just better off being coordinators. I could be wrong on this. I just feel like Glenn is – I don't know if he's going to succeed there in New York.
Well, I'm going to tell you why he won't, because it's the Jets. Right. That's why he won't. He went to the wrong place. Listen, just stay where you're at. I told everybody about the Andy Reid thing with Bieniemy. Now look at you. I don't think Ben Johnson's a great head coach, but he's surrounding himself with an offensive talent and an offensive line. And if they get Gentry and they got Swift and they got and you're lucky Aaron Rodgers didn't sign with Minnesota because you guys would have been in third place.
Yeah. Oh, well.
And I don't know where – I think he's out of football this year.
I do, too. I don't know. I can't see any team right now taking a shot at a 42-year-old that has that's kind of has character issues.
character issues. Don't know if
I
I
mean,
want to play.
who else? Where else? If he was going to go somewhere, he would have to be a team that needs that quarterback
Yep.
and it's basically a playoff caliber team
Yep.
that could make a
On the
run to
cusp.
the championship.
Yeah, he would have to come here.
Because he didn't have that bad of a season
At the
last year.
end, at the end, he didn't. In the beginning, he did. At the end, he played better. You're right. He played better at the end.
But like I said, I thinking right now, I don't know where he could end up.
It's not the Steelers. He doesn't want to go to the Steelers.
I mean, the only other place I could see him going is I wouldn't mind seeing him go to the 49ers, but I think they're pretty set with Purdy. They like the kid.
They like him.
And I think if he went there and then they had to put Purdy on the bench, I just don't think that would be a good.
No, Purdy not going on the bench. He's proven too much. He's playoffs.
I mean,
Yeah,
because really, I mean, when you look around the league, there's no. I at the top of my head, I can't see him going anywhere. I don't think he's going to Minnesota.
No, he's not going there. If he was going to Minnesota, they would have done it already.
And other than that, when you look around the league,
Everybody has a
nowhere.
quarterback.
Everybody does.
Everybody has their quarterback,
I think he just needs to
except
hang
the
it.
Saints. And why would he go there?
Yeah.
Why would he go there? So
But you were saying something with Derek Carr being injured, because I did hear the same thing.
but there's no chance to win there. Let's just be realistic.
They have a decent running back in Kamara.
It's no chance to win there.
Not at all.
No. You got the Lions and the Rams. There's no chance to win there.
Well,
can't get
maybe not a Super Bowl, but what do you think?
No, because you got your guy in Tampa. They're the darling of that division right now. You're not going to win as the Saints. You're not. The Panthers aren't going to win. It's going to be Tampa again. So Aaron wants to go somewhere where it's 1 foot in the playoff. I can bring the other foot maybe to the Super Bowl.
You think he comes in halfway through the season if there's an injury and somebody needs somebody?
I think no, that's a good point. He might be waiting around to see how the draft unfolds. He could be doing that and then make the decision. But I think if he wanted to go to Pittsburgh, he'd be there already. I think Cousins ends up over there.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So the NFL draft tonight is at 8 o'clock, and we're all interested to see how that will unfold. And, of course, we'll talk more about it next week. But
See how
there's
people-
another team in Detroit that is playing pretty good basketball. And you're an NBA guy, Co.
Only
Playoff?
playoff, yeah, in regular season. Playoffs are okay, but I'm more of a player,
Okay.
NBA player guy.
Okay.
But I like what the Pistons are doing.
Okay.
Who you what? That's the question. Are you watching the draft? Or are you watching the Pistons?
Well, I think if you're like most Detroit fans, you're probably going to have you're going to be flipping back and forth because, I mean, honestly, Detroit. When you think about it, I think you have to
Watch the Pistons.
either that or you listen to the Pistons on the radio and watch the draft. Listen to either Blaha or Champion.
You can, you can. See, here's the thing, though. The pressure is on the Pistons. tonight.
Absolutely.
People keep saying, "Oh, the pressure's on the Knicks." No, it's not.
They say that Joe. I mean, Joe. They say that Little Caesars Arena is going to be sold out.
Yeah. The pressure is on the Pistons. It's not the Knicks.
But do you see? I think the Pistons will. I think they could win both of these games here.
They can. First of all, the Knicks aren't that good. There's no superstars on the Knicks. People want to say Brunson's a superstar. No, he's a star. Cat ain't no superstar. He's a star. Cade's a superstar. Cade's the truth. Here's the deal. The pressure's on the Pistons because they're at home. People keep saying, no, the pressure's on the Knicks. No, they're not. The series is tied up. The Knicks still get to go back home.
Right.
And everybody, fans out there, stop saying, oh, this is the most pivotal game. Every game is pivotal. The first one to 4 is the winner. Every game is pivotal. Let's not say that every game, no. You can't take no nights off. Every game is pivotal. You want to win the fastest you can to get those 4 games, get some rest, get to the next series. The pressure is on the Pistons tonight because they're young. They're capable of making a lot of mistakes. We've seen that.
Yes, because they could be up. They should be up 2-0.
They should be up 2-0. Okay, you're not, but they should be up 2. They can beat the Knicks, but you need to win. You need to win tonight because you're just saving home court. You're just holding serve. Now, the pressure's on the Knicks. The next game, if they lose, because nobody comes back from the 3-1 hardly, or But tonight, the pressure's on the Pistons. Get this first home game out of the way because you don't want to give New York any momentum right now.
Right.
None, because they'll feel like, oh, we can come. We just beat them in front of their first. This is the first playoff home thing since forever. We just beat them tonight, but the Pistons have to cut down the turnovers, stop making the mental mistakes, let Cade be the floor general like they do, and Cade has to come out and have a hot start like he did the other day. So the Pistons are going to defend. They're going to support each other. The coach, he's all over this thing. He's got his hands on everything, and they mesh well. And I'm going to tell you, too, Schroeder was big for them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Schroeder's a big pickup for them. You don't long.
Well, I think reacquiring Tobias Harris
Yep.
and Tim Hardaway Jr.
He's making shots.
That was a good.
And if he makes some shots, if he makes some threes, they could blow the Knicks out. Hardaway.
Yeah.
Every time I see him shooting a three, he misses.
Right.
So if he could make some threes, and Tobias he's making shots. He's a shot maker. They got a good thing. Of course, they don't beat Boston. They're just not going to beat Boston. Not saying that they can't. They just won't right now. They're going to win. They're not going to get swept. But concentrate on this series first. Take care of your home business, and you'll find yourself in the next series.
Do you find that these Pistons kind of resemble a little bit the trajectory of how the bad boys win?
No.
You don't?
No.
Because of Isaiah?
There you go.
But you just said Cade's going to be a superstar.
He is a superstar.
Okay. Well, so
He's not Zeke.
Well, we don't know that yet. Maybe he rattles something off.
Well, they're the same, but they're kind of different because Lambeer invented the stretch three-pointer. The Pistons started that, the big guy shooting the three. Think about it.
Yeah.
6'11". So they're kind of they're the same with the coach, the toughness, the superstar leader. Yeah. Yep. The superstar leader. There's no other superstar. So I see what you're saying. But they're playing like they have their own brand. I mean, you can put it because Detroit's the blue collar, it's gritty. But they play their own style of toughness too. So it's different, but I see why people would compare it.
And like I said, I mean, this could be something where, the Pistons start off, they win that first series, like you said, you don't.
Because they don't
They're
defend.
going to have to, now you're going to have to get over the big bad Boston, just like the Pistons did.
Well, yeah, I like how it's going, but they don't defend like Zeke and Dumars and Sally and Rob and all those guys. Those guys were up in you, like in the threes. So it's different.
It's a different game.
Yeah, it's a different game. So the Pistons of old would love you guys to shoot all these threes, Brunson and all them and all those misses. Those are turned into 80 points for them because they defended the perimeter. But I see it. You got the one star, the point guard. But, yeah, Cade is nice. They can beat the Knicks. The Knicks aren't the Knicks normally do what they do, get to the playoffs, and then they lose out or whatever. But people expect them to beat the Pistons because of experience and, youth, and they're so young, and this is the first time in a minute. But Bickerstaff he's no joke, man. He knows what he's doing. And he's getting the best out of all the guys. So it's going to be a good game tonight. It's going to be rocking. People are downtown right now. They're already.
Oh, sure.
It's going to be off the charts down there. Little Caesars are going to go crazy tonight.
Well,
and we got the draft.
Well, let me ask you something. Mm-hmm. Since we're tackling the NBA right now, any other series that surprise you at all?
No. Nope. Memphis stinks.
Indiana 2-0 lead over the Bucks?
Nope.
No?
Giannis needs to get out of there. He needs to leave. No.
Are you shocked the Warriors are tied with the Rockets 1-1?
Nope, that series can go either way. Steph will win it. We just need Jimmy to get back. Once Jimmy gets back, he was hurt last night. I don't know if he's going to play tomorrow night. But, yeah, I'm not – those two fight it out all the time. That's a good series. I like it. That could go either way.
And Cavaliers up 2-0 over the Heat.
No surprise.
And then no surprise, I'm sure, Thunder up 2-0 over the Grizzlies.
Thunder's for real.
Okay.
They're for real.
Clippers tied up with the Nuggets 1-1.
That's a good series. That's actually the best series. That's the one I like to watch the most. That's the one. That one right there is a good one. That one and the Golden State one. And I like the Pistons too, but yeah, that's a good series.
Okay.
That's a good series. My prediction, I think, after all the smoke clears, I think you're looking at Boston. Cleveland is tough, though. I think Boston and OKC. They are. And I love Steph, but I don't know. And I like the Joker. OKC's for real, though. Real deal.
What about your Lakers?
Two of the biggest superstar flops. Looking for the call. Lakers could probably
Make a run?
Yeah, they could probably get to. I'm not a Luka fan. I'm not a LeBron fan, but facts are facts. They're two superstars. I don't dislike them. I don't root for them. But they can get to, if they play defense like they were playing in the regular season, they can get to the conference finals for sure. And who knows what happens there. I just think OKC is just young, tough, hungry, and they got a hell of a basketball player. I always get his name. I always mess up his name, but he's nice. He's real good. So yeah, they're balanced too. The Lakers, they're not as consistent offensively. So, but OKC always play the part everywhere. Defense, offense, everything. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we've covered all three sports tonight.
Yes, we have. Let's see what the Lions do. You guys' genius, Brad Holmes. Let's see if he can pick. Because before, it was easy to pick. Because you guys were, 1-12 or whatever you were, 1-15?
Yeah, so we had a higher draft.
Yeah, so it was easy to do. It's easy to find the hutch and I think Jameer fell into their lap. But it was easier. To now you got to think a little bit. But I think he's going to go with the best player that is available. Do you think he should?
Absolutely. Wasn't it Jimmy Jones's or Jimmy Johnson's theory, go with the best player?
Always.
It seems, with the way people go down like flies with injuries, you got to take the best player.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see. Like I said, that'll have a lot of us talking next week.
Yeah.
Where they go. We'll be back on next Tuesday.
Oh, we're Tuesday.
We're doing Tuesday evening next week. So we'll have a lot to talk about with the NFL draft. What will the Lions do? Where will the Pistons be in just a few days? And, of course, we'll have your Tiger highlights coming up on Tuesday, and
Baltimore
a lot of excitement going on downtown tonight.
Yep.
And a lot of excitement during the weekend with the Oreos in town. So we'll figure out what the Tigers will do on our next report on Tuesday. You have been watching The Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV and the Kavana Broadcast Network YouTube channels. I am Scotty William, and that is Corey Tiez. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll see you next week, next Tuesday, live right here.
Stay safe, folks.
Stay safe.